What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of the Infinity Flux Letters page. My name is Matt.
I'm 80.
And this is our bi-weekly live show where we just talk to you guys about whatever you want to talk about, mostly related to comics. This is kind of our live version of hanging out with your buddies at the comic book store on New Comic Book Day, just talking about some cool stuff.
So let us know in the comments. Is there anything you want to talk about?
Right.
What's grinding your gears in the comic world? Let us know.
Yeah. So we are live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and TikTok is up there. So I'll be looking over here every so often just to see what's going on over on these platforms. But yeah, all of our other videos are pre-recorded. We talk about comic previews. You can ride a donkey, but not to a wedding, Daniel Seaborg on Instagram says. That is very wise advice. Yes, that is fact. But yeah, so everything else we do is pre-recorded, but this is live because we wanted to have a show where we interact with you as you ask questions and talk to us. And we do have a couple of things to talk about at the top of the show, and then we thought if time allows, we might run through some comic book news. But we had a good question that we wanted to address because we thought maybe this might help out some people. So let's just pop it up here. And I did have to kind of abridge this comment because there's only so many characters that fit in this banner. But our friend Robert Gonzalez on one of our recent videos asked, how do you store your comics? I'm interested to know in how you store them regarding boxes, how you categorize them, between Marvel and DC and everything else. How do you the boxes? Where do you put the boxes? Can you stack them? Bags and boards and that kind of thing. Again, this is an abridged version of the comment, but it was longer than this. But yeah, so we thought we might go through that because again, hey, what's up from Knoxville?
Hey, I've been there.
Yeah, we live a couple hours away from there. How you doing? And we do have, and Jeffrey, we saw this question right before we started, and we do want to talk about this as well. So this will come next. But yeah, let's go back to this real quick. Yeah, so a lot of different things here. How do you store your comics? I mean, obviously, bags and boards. Mm-hmm. They do make long boxes and short boxes that are the width of comic books that makes them easy to flip through. Here at the store, we bag and board all of our books. And I brought, in case you want to know, we usually use the BCW. There's different sizes. There's Silver Age. There's bags for Silver Age books because those are a little bit bigger. Those are a little bit wider. There's bags for Golden Age books, like way back in the 30s and 40s, because those ones were a little bit bigger. There's Modern Age, for today's books. So we bag and board everything in these 7 1/8 inch wide bags, and these are resealable also. So it has a little strip that you tear off on the back. It's got a little sticky strip, and you can just tape them up that way. And then we use the BCW boards that are 6 7/8 inch wides, and you can see they say regular up here. So the bags are about 1/4 inch wider than the boards. That gives you a little bit of wiggle room because if you get the ones where the boards and the bags are the exact same size, if you get a book that's any thicker than a regular book, it's not going to fit. Start with the hard plastic BCW boxes. 12-cent keys on Instagram says, I don't love those because they open from the top, and I like to stack. I mean, they're stackable, but you have to move them.
Yeah. What we have here is we're one of only a few retailers that sell the drawer boxes. Yeah. So they have an outer shell, and then you can grab the drawer and pull it out, but they're still made of cardboard. And I still have to assemble them. Yeah, you've got one.
This one's kind of a dirtier one, but yeah. So we have these drawer boxes. It's a cardboard box, but you can actually pull the drawer out, and there's dividers in there.
Yeah.
They make short versions and long versions of these. This is the short one, and these stack really well.
I think they're about 5 high is the recommended.
Yeah, and that's what I have at home. So I have about 30 of the long versions of these at home, and I've got them 5 high and 6 across. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you can just pull them out. Whoops.
They do come completely out too.
Yeah, they come all the way out. So, if you want to do anything with those. So this is what I use at home. This is what we use around the store for our back issues and things like that.
There's also a way to connect them. They've got there's little things you can use to connect them. So you don't have to worry about when you pull that just the one will fall off. I think this is about as perfect as a solution to this as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially if you stack boxes.
Yeah, the trade-off with the drawer boxes is that they don't hold quite as many as a regular short box or a regular long box because, you give up a little bit to have the the dividers in there, and the dividers come out too, so you can move them around however you need. There's little slots in there. Yeah, so these are great. You can we sell these at our store. You can get them at collectiondrawer.com. There's a website on the front there. Yeah, so 12-cent keys on Instagram says I only do graded books. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, and there are plastic cases specifically for graded books. Yeah, so as far as like protecting them, that's what we do. We use drawer boxes, the bags and boards. Hashtag not an ad, by the way. We are not sponsored. We are not sponsored by BCW or drawer boxes. These are just what we use around the store, and these are what we sell too. For people to buy.
I also think when they talk about people all have their own ways of categorizing Marvel, DC, Indie. Personally, I do Marvel, DC, and Indie are 3 separate categories, alphabetical within there. You start getting the nitpicky when it's like mini series, one shots, that kind of thing. I think Star Wars is a hard one because I have a lot of Star Wars books, and they've had so many weird little tiny series. That's the fun of it. I like to categorize and subcategorize and get as minutia as possible. But I do separate Marvel, DC, and Indie, and then alphabetical by there. And then sometimes it depends in the Indie if I have like image here and then another thing here. That would be if all of my books were really well organized, which they are not.
Right. Yeah, I do the same thing. I do Marvel, DC, Image, and then everything else. So I have 4 different buckets. And then when you get to the everything else bucket, I just alphabetize everything. As far as like in single issues go anyway, I like to keep my there's no wrong way to do it either. Whatever works for you is the right way for you. I like to keep all of my mini series off to the side. So I have like several short boxes full of just mini series. And then the long running books like Amazing Spider-Man and Iron Man and Captain America, that kind of stuff. Those are the ones I keep in those 30 different drawer boxes. Because if you have like hundreds of issues of Amazing Spider-Man and then a 5-issue mini series and then another 100 issues of Amazing Spider-Man the next volume, I don't love that. So I like to keep all the mini series off together. And then there was another question too about I think it got left out of the comment, but they were asking about like how to stack books and stuff too. Like I don't know if you mean like hardcovers or things like that, but I love the Calyx shelves from IKEA. They're just cubes. Those things are great for omnibuses and hardcovers and that kind of thing. We don't have our closest IKEA is 2 hours away, so I had to drive and had to drive down to get those. But those things are awesome. Kallax from IKEA. Not an ad, but it could be.
Not the robot that works in the Fortress of Solitude.
That's Calyx. Okay. Yeah, right. So the Calyx shelves are great for stacking actual like collected editions on that kind of thing. I wish I'd brought a picture just to show like how good they are. But yeah, I mean, again, just want to stress, so there's no wrong way to do it. There's no, as far as organizing your books, what order you store them in, there's no wrong way to do it.
However, you can find what you're looking for.
Right. And that's how, anytime I think of, I want an issue of Amazing Spider-Man, I know that's in the longer boxes. If I want one of my omnibuses, it's like, I keep the omnibuses in their own section from the trade paperback, so I know where to go to get those. So I'm not sure if that helps or not, but there's no wrong way to do it. Just whatever makes sense for you. That's right for you, because I'm sure even we keep our books, we organize our own books separately or differently from each other.
A right way and a wrong way.
Wait, I know I just said there's not a wrong way. No, whatever.
There's no wrong way except for however Matt does.
Right, except for there's no wrong way except for however everybody else does it. That's not my way. All right, so I like this question too. So, good day from Australia. Hey, I've been there.
Hey, what do you know about Australia?
Yeah, my mom's from there. Hey, I have dual citizenship in America and Australia, and that sounds pretty good these days. I may put that to good use here in another year or so. But what's the best way to stay up to date with characters' back history? I recently read Psylocke, and I didn't understand who she's talking about. I've read a lot of X-Men.
That's a good question. Yeah, that's kind of the fun and the hard part about this. Go to your shelf and pull out your old Marvel Encyclopedia, which I used to do, and I used to love reading through those. The best way is like I would just Wikipedia a character, there's some really well done like Marvel wikis and stuff.
Yeah. Nowadays, yeah, the internet is your best friend. Back in the day, back in my day when we didn't have the internet, like it was harder. We did have to try to figure out. But I will say that back in the 80s and 90s, comics were much better about putting the little caption boxes with the asterisk that says "See X-Men number 7" for the like. They were much better about doing that than they are today. But the internet, and Wikipedia especially, like I might just Google, Psylocke and look for the Wikipedia link for her. There's also, like you said, there's like what's that page? Fandom?
Yeah, the Fandom Wiki thing.
Yeah. The only problem with those pages is there's ads everywhere.
Yeah.
There are so many ads, and every time an ad loads, the page refreshes. And if you're trying to read a deep history, so I go to Wikipedia first, just to see what they might have. And if you're not finding what you're looking for, maybe Google the specific thing, like Psylocke kills so-and-so.
Yeah.
Try to find out when that happened. What were the circumstances around that?
There is usually really good, even Marvel's website is pretty good at logging certain things. But like we ran into that this week when we read the new One World Under Doom, the Thunderbolts issue.
Right.
And I was like, when did some of this stuff take place?
Yeah.
And, part of me was like, it's probably in a Thunderbolt series I haven't read, but we did have to do some deep diving of like, when did Winter Soldier go up against Red Skull and took him to Latveria and stuff? Like we had to do some research for that. And that was kind of a mix of Googling and looking back at the previous Thunderbolt series to figure out. But I don't know if there's like a great like running way of keeping up with what's going on with the character other than just reading stuff. And it's become increasingly harder and harder when, what's going on with Spider-Man. It's like, I don't know, like which version of him in what book, because over here he's one way, over here he acts a different way. But there are great websites too that do kind of article like things about that. And our videos, like we try to tell you enough information about an issue coming out. And often, like I think we mentioned on the Thunderbolts book when we talked about it, was like, I think this is referencing the previous Thunderbolt series. So we try to do some of that as well. Yeah,
it does sound super generic to say, just Google it. But honestly, that is the best tool for, when you're trying to catch up with a comic or trying to learn about a character. I still use it. I've been reading comics for 4 decades, and I still have to Google things almost on a daily basis to try to figure out the history of a character or try to find one small moment in a character's history that I don't know about. So you'll never know everything.
That too, when we're like, is that the first appearance of a character? It's like, oh no, they appeared back in like the 60s in this one thing.
Right.
So yeah, you can't know everything.
Yeah.
I think about the dragon character that was in the Deadpool team up book.
Right. Oh yeah, that was a deep cut that you found.
Yeah.
How did you? Oh, you Googled who that was.
Yeah, I Googled, and then I found what issue of Fantastic Four that he appeared in. Or the caveman characters that are in this week's Challenge of the Unknown. We had to go and like look up where are they from and stuff. So, but that's the fun of it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, you will never, ever, ever know everything, and that's okay, right? There's too much to fit in one brain, So, the internet's your friend. And I don't think there's any. I feel like there's nothing you can't find though on the internet, like in regards to in regards to like history and characters and everything.
There's probably a Reddit thread about just the history of Psylocke, a comprehensive issue by issue thing.
There's reading lists and all kinds of stuff. So the internet for sure. You can find anything you want to. And Robert Gonzalez, hey, I hope that that helped a little bit. I know we threw a lot of information at you about how to store them and stack them and all that kind of stuff, but hopefully some of it made sense. And Hydrus has a good question related to that. When storing in short or long boxes, do you rotate the books that are in bags and boards? I think you mean like front, like so they're facing each other so that you don't have like the spines all. I don't. We have a friend named Garrett who swears by that, and he actually measured it, and he says that by doing that, he can fit in like 20 more books or something. He like had the exact measurement of the amount of space.
Yeah, Garrett's insane though.
Yeah, that's. To me, it's like I need to be able to see the cover of every book. It's like if I'm looking for issue number 27, it's weird to me if I see 26 and then 28. I know 27's in the middle, but I need to see it.
It's kind of like the people who double bag comics on the front and the back of the board.
Yeah.
Something ick about that.
I used to do that in the 90s when I was a kid. I have so many books where I had 2 comics in one. One was on the front of the board in the bag, the other one was on the back, and that's not good because the one side of the board is coated.
Yeah, it is
for protection, and the other one's not.
There's a glossy side and a matte side, and you're supposed to kind of slide the comic down on the glossy side.
So shame on me. Shame on 15-year-old me in 1994 doing that.
Here's a controversial thing about me. I don't
necessarily.
Just one? Here's one of the many controversial things about me. I don't necessarily care about my comics' condition. I want them to be good, but I do read them, and I don't like fold the comic over or do anything like that. But I am not trying to keep every book in pristine condition. Right. If a book comes in like here, and since I'm an employee and I'm getting that book, but one of the books came in is damaged or it's got a crease in the corner or something, I'm like, I'll just take that one.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to read it. And I like bag and board stuff. I put it in a box. But first and foremost, I'm here for the story.
Yeah.
It's great if I have a book that's worth something, but that's not my reason for reading comics.
Yeah, I don't much care about condition for the purpose of increasing the value either. I'd rather just read the book. That doesn't mean I'm going to take a comic and throw it up against the wall and stomp all over it. I still, the OCD side of me wants the pages to be flat. If there's a big the old, subscription creases in older books, I wouldn't want something like that. But if it gets,
it's not a deal breaker.
Yeah,
for the book.
Yeah, and actually, although there is one, I got a trade. I got an Epic collection, I think, a couple weeks ago, and the bottom right corner on the back, or I guess if you're looking at the back, it's the bottom left. It was a little bit damaged, and that damage permeates throughout half the book. That kind of thing bugs me though, because it's like, every time I flip a page, I'm going to see this weird little crease on the bottom. And that just irks me from an OCD kind of thing. Not value wise. I don't really care, but so I don't really care.
Want anything that hinders the reading experience.
Yeah.
I don't want like a panel cutout that would bug me, but I'm not like, if I have a stack of comics, I don't mind they're not in a box and I stacked them up on the side right here. And I'm not worried about the weight of the comics on top of each other.
Right.
That's just not, I don't know. It doesn't bug me because I'm here to read them.
Yeah. Would you go so far as to not ever put them in bags and boards again? Maybe just keep them in a long box, but not with bags and boards.
I mean, there's some random books that I have. They're like, this doesn't really go anywhere, and they've just been floating around for a long time out of bags and boards. I don't have any spare bags and boards right now, but I also don't really buy books that aren't already bagged and boarded. Like if they're in our dollar bin and they weren't in a bag and board or whatever, that would stop me from buying them.
Yeah.
I would probably try to not get them all ripped up and everything, but I wouldn't go out of my way to make sure everything's bagged and boarded, but usually the books I get are already that way, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. Hey, Javier, what was the Sam Wilson Captain America comic that you recommended on one of my TikTok lives?
Is it the Rick Remender?
Well,
one?
I remember this. So I had a couple people ask about good Sam Wilson Captain America reading recommendations, and I showed that trade paperback. The Sam Wilson, it's the
one at Ollie's, right?
It's the one at Ollie's. Yeah, it's the one at Ollie's I got for $10. I don't remember the name of it, but it collects the the 2016, the Stuart Eminem.
Yeah,
is that Rick Remender?
When they did All New, All Different,
right?
And Stuart Eminem was, but that wasn't the first. It was the Captain America that came after the time he was in the other dimension. He was in Dimension X or whatever, and he had a kid.
That was a weird time.
But yeah, that's. The art in that is incredible.
I was trying to find I
believe it's Rick Remender.
Yeah, so it's from 20. So the good one, no, the trade paperback I showed on my live stream, that collected a bunch of different ones, but my favorite one out of that was All New Captain America. It was a 6-issue series from 2015. Stuart Eminem is the one who did the art, and I think it was Rick Remender who.
He was just the writer on Captain America at the time.
But did he keep doing it though?
I believe so.
Yeah, this is too long of an article, but yeah, so all new Captain America from 2015.
Pull it up,
but and then there was another longer series after that. Daniel Acuna did the artwork. I wish I could remember that that trade paperback though. Don't. So we are a retailer. I am going to Amazon.com though, so I can try to find this thing. Sam Wilson, Captain America comic. Oh, this is it.
It's Captain America, Sam Wilson, the complete collection.
Yeah.
One, yeah.
Yeah, so the trade paperback I gotta show, yeah, Captain America, Sam Wilson, the complete collection, volume 1, and it collects all new Captain America 1 through 6, that one we were talking about. It collects Captain America, Sam Wilson 1 through 6. Yeah, it's good stuff. It is good stuff. Especially that Stuart Eminem one though. The artwork and the colors, oh my gosh, that's some of the best stuff out there. Let's see. The Flashies has a good question too. Any big summer crossovers coming up? Well, we just started the One World Under Doom event, and it's off to a pretty strong start. Dr. Doom is Sorcerer Supreme. He has taken over the world quite literally. Everything is part of a unified Latveria. But he actually has some good ideas, and the heroes aren't cool with it, but maybe everybody else in the world is. So there's the, it has a couple tie-ins already. That's the only one.
When is that DC one that crossover between like World's Finest and...
called We Are Yesterday or We Were Yesterday or something. That's later. That's a few months from now.
Is that like maybe May or something like that?
Yeah, I think so. That's not really a big event though. That's just more like a crossover, I think a 6-issue crossover. Which maybe Flashies, that may be what you're asking about, just like smaller crossovers like that. But if you're talking big events, the only one we know for now is One World Under Doom.
Yeah, DC, I almost feel like DC has chosen to do more of a late year big event than the summer event, which I like because I know I've heard Scott Snyder say that like there's big stuff coming at the end of the year that like everything's leading up to.
I think last October, Scott Snyder said he was working on something for this October.
Yeah.
So I do think there is something. I don't know how big it's going to be, but I don't know that it's going to be like main DC universe meets the Absolute Universe. I don't know if it's going to be anything like that, but I kind of hope it's not. I like the Absolute Universe just being its own thing. But there is something bigger coming in DC later on this fall. Oh, there's also the Spider-Verse meets Venomverse.
Yeah.
Which we don't know a whole lot about that yet. That's going to be, I think, probably like smack dab in the summer. But that's a thing that's happening is all the Spider-Verse stuff and all the Venomverse stuff, and those are going to clash somehow, but we don't really know much yet. Oh, Flashies has issue number 1 of One World Under Doom. Did you like it? I thought it was really good. I was into it. I love Dr. Doom. And I kind of like that. It's like, I like having bad guys that are just straight up bad guys that you love to hate, but I also like that Doom isn't always bad. Doom just does whatever is best for Doom.
Yeah.
Sometimes it ends up being good, sometimes not. And
I almost hope it doesn't turn out to be that he had a sinister plan the whole time. I hope it's like the Avengers ruined his plans.
Yeah.
And he's like, this could have been great. Because I think that, maybe knock the Avengers down a peg a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of hope that too. That is that weird to hope that.
That's the cover of the Captain America, the Stuart Eminem Rick Remender one.
Yeah, so that's a 6-issue series. I love this 6-issue series.
Yeah.
This is what made me, of course, and it's pretty early on in Sam Wilson's career as Captain America, but this is what sold me on him.
This is one of my favorite teams. This is Rick Remender, Stuart Eminem. The inker is Wade Von Grawbadger, and Marty Gracia is the colorist. Other than Remender didn't write it, it's the same team that did all new, all different X-Men.
Yeah. That was really good too.
Which is also a beautiful book.
Yeah.
So yeah, just that's a good names to see on books.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. There's a question from Obsidian Ball on Instagram. Do you think Swamp Thing will have another series or show up as a main character soon?
So Swamp Thing just appeared in. He was briefly in Challengers of the Unknown this week. but it is not Alec Holland.
Right, it's
Swamp
the other
Thing.
one.
It's the other guy from the mini series or whatever that was.
Yeah.
I do think, because we do know we are getting Swamp Thing in the cinematic universe.
Right.
Eventually, I do believe they're going to start building that. We did get Swamp Thing in World's Finest recently.
In the issue that came out today is
With
part 2 of
Pharaonic
it.
Man.
Yeah, it has Pharaonic Man, and Swamp Thing shows up in that to help deal with that. So that was pretty cool.
I don't think we're too far away from a new ongoing Swamp Thing story, because I feel like current DC plans and the way they're, we've got Zatanna, we've got Challengers, we've got New Gods. Swamp Thing fits that category of like, it's not Superman, Batman, or Wonder Woman, and it's not a spin-off of them. It's its own thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like DC's really trying to give a lot of characters some spotlights, and I think Swamp Thing is primed to be one of those.
Yeah, he popped up in a one shot with Poison Ivy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he had that one shot. Those Poison Ivy Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
I forgot what.
Yeah, I forgot the name of it.
It was really good though.
Yeah.
About the trees or screaming. And...
Yeah, I think it was just a month or two ago that came out. And they're great. I would love to see more of them together. That was really cool.
I would be fine with a team up book like that. One of the greatest losses that we didn't get was Stepan Sejic, who did Harleen, had plans to do a Poison Ivy follow-up to that called Ivy. I believe it's called Ivy. And it was going to be about Swamp Thing training Poison Ivy how to deal with the green.
Okay.
As he introduces, and there's some like concept art for that out there. But something happened between him and DC, and they didn't see eye to eye. And he's basically like, that's never going to happen. And it's such a loss, because I think a Swamp Thing Poison Ivy book about the green would have been incredible.
Yeah, I would read that for sure. And Roughwood on Instagram, how you doing, Roughwood? Says Remender is still grabbing my attention in Sacrificers. And yes, I have not read that in a while, but I read the first 4 or 5 issues, and that was really good.
Yeah, and he's currently doing the one with the circus.
Oh, shoot, we just read it. It was so good. What was it? Yeah, the circus one.
Because the word sacrificer reminds me of the title of that.
Oh my gosh.
Seasons.
The Seasons, yeah. Oh yeah, that was really good. I didn't quite understand what was going on at the time, but then by the time you get to the end, I was like, oh, there's something cool here. Oh no, our screen's flashing.
When was Elongated?
Yeah.
When was Elongated Man reincarnated? I didn't see him in the Justice League Unlimited series. Did not see him. So I feel like Elongated Man, along with a lot of characters, returned during Rebirth. Wasn't that basically when they were like, they're all here? Like,
I don't remember. I mean, I know he's around, but I don't know when he like popped back up.
I don't believe there was a story that said, "Oh, the return of Elongated Man." I think it was just they kind of hit a new reboot point, and they were like, a lot of the characters that were dead are back now.
Yeah, and
we're not really like, we're not addressing exactly how every single one of them came back. I think it had to do with when Superman, the Superman from before, like when the realities started to merge. Mm-hmm. I think it happened during that, because they brought back, there was like a big 2-page spread. It might have been the Rebirth one shot that had to do was like post Dr. Manhattan, all of that.
Yeah, and I feel like
I believe that's when a lot of those characters came back to life. That's when the Justice Society came back.
Right. And I feel like he just popped in this. Oh, wait. I was thinking he just popped up in something recently, but it was during my reread of Crisis is when it was.
He was in something too.
Yeah. Mark Davis, what's up, man? Did you hear that Ron V is going to be doing a Resurrection Man miniseries? Yeah. I heard that, but I don't know anything about that.
So my main knowledge of Resurrection Man comes from the New 52 Resurrection Man series, which I don't know is how accurate to the history of Resurrection Man, but I know in that series was every time he died, he got reborn with a new power. And it like he didn't really know what it was for a little bit, but he would always kind of reincarnate as not a new, like he didn't look different, but he had a new ability.
That sounds
and he had
awesome.
lost the previous one or whatever, and it was a very like dark story and everything. I really liked him. I think a miniseries is the right thing because I don't know how well he works in a. He's kind of one of those like Dial H type characters. That's like it's really hard when they just have random powers and stuff. But he is a little bit more on the side of the like just like dark style characters with Zatanna and Blue Devil and Deadman and Shining Knight and all of those.
Yeah, he has a special section for him. Oh, I can't say. So something happened over here with Instagram, and I was thinking I couldn't see the chat, but I guess I can, but we can't see the video. But Roughwood says, I haven't checked out the seasons. It's in my reading pile. Dude, it's so good. There's only the one issue so far, so you'll be able to catch up pretty quick. Jeffrey wants to know, what is the best title coming out in the next month?
What are we most excited for?
Well, Absolute Flash comes out in March. We both read that the other day, and it's really good. A lot of questions.
Yeah.
It's not it's not as straightforward, I think, as like Absolute Batman was.
No, it is. It's it has a little bit more of the. They don't tell you immediately what are the things that are different,
right? And
there's stuff that happens without an explanation, but kind of with the promise of you'll get an explanation. It's just a kind of a mystery surrounding a lot of where are they? What is this thing?
Yeah.
Who is that? It's a lot of those kind of questions. Yes, but so Absolute Flash, definitely really excited for. Within the next not too long, we'll know who the all new Venom is.
Oh yeah,
which I'm very interested about.
You know, in April, I think near the beginning of April, and actually, Roughwood says, "Are we almost to the next chapter of Spider-Man?" I was gonna say, I'm interested in this new Amazing Spider-Man that's going to be starting in April. Just try to be positive here, right? But just because this current run hasn't been so great, and I really want to see if they can maybe turn things around.
Yeah,
we've seen
the art is incredible.
The art is incredible. We've seen like 4 preview pages. They're online. They were in the Marvel preview catalog, and visually, it looks great. The action is exactly what I want the action to be like. Rhino's huge, fighting a smaller Spider-Man. He's throwing things around with his webs. So visually, that's what I want it to be.
Yeah.
Don't know what the story is going to be. The story does sound interesting with, some Spider-Man villain powering up other villains.
I do like that idea. Yeah, that's cool.
A little bit of a mystery there. So everything looks good for now, but we'll obviously have to wait and see how it is. But I'm super interested in that for sure.
We've got kind of the end of the first story arcs of the Absolute books we have right now. So we'll be getting, the final story arc issue for Absolute Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. It'll be great to see how those round off their first arcs and set up the new ones. I think that's going to be really cool. I'm trying to think what new titles are coming out.
Yeah. Zatanna just started today, and so it's going to be fun to read that series. Yeah. It's just 6 issues, but it's going to be fun to read that on into the summer because that one just blew me away with how fun it was and how beautiful it is.
Yeah.
Number 2, we talked about it on our video a few minutes ago. Number 2 is on FOC this weekend. We've already read that as well, and it's phenomenal. Kind of leading into this, do the Absolute titles have an end date? No, all the Absolute books are ongoing.
Yeah.
And so, definitely the Absolute books are ongoing. I want to say maybe Absolute Martian Manhunter is not. I'm not sure about that one.
So far away. There's very little we know about that one.
But as far as the ones that are out now, Absolute Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are ongoing series. Scott Snyder has said that he has already planned like 2 years worth of stories for Absolute Batman.
Yeah. He said he's with it as long as people want it.
Yeah, I think he said that Absolute Batman is guaranteed locked in for at least 2 years worth of stuff. And then obviously if people keep buying it like they have been, then he'll keep making it. So there's no plans to stop any of those whatsoever. They're selling like gangbusters. Every issue of every one of them are getting multiple reprints. They're really popular here.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're all ongoings, and they're going to go for a while, a good long while.
So bringing up Absolute Martian Manhunter
Yeah.
as well as Absolute Flash. The other one we're getting, of course, is Absolute Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
Those are our next three. I do believe we'll probably hear some more since we're getting close to the launch of these. We'll hear some rumblings about maybe another couple that will be coming out later. I don't know that for sure, but I do feel like there's a number they're trying to hit.
I do feel like early on they said there was going to be 8, but we only know about 6. So I feel like there's going to be 2 more announcements, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But that's what I feel like.
I'm really hoping for the Absolute Aquaman because I want that by Francis Manapul because that's been a team that should have been for a long time. Yeah. So Absolute Flash, like we said, really good. I'm very excited about that one. Absolute Flash, I didn't put it in my notes for a short show, but I will say there is a moment in it you do see some future events.
Yeah.
Centered around Absolute Flash.
Yeah.
But that also gives me the hope of like this is a good long run of this.
Future, like you said, future events for Flash. It's not like a timeless book where it's like teasing some big. Yeah. It's nothing like that. It's just some things that Wally West is gonna encounter at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolute Martian Manhunter, I think, is the wild card in all of this. It's the one that I feel like I understand and know the least about. I've heard Denise Camp describe what it is, that he's not actually a Martian. It's more of Martian is the only thing that John Jones, the detective, is the closest thing to explaining himself to him. So that one is the wild card. And Green Lantern, there's a lot of questions about who the cast is in it, what the ring is in that. So I'm very excited to see that. Of course, it's not within the next month.
Yeah. I want to say it's April, though. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm hoping we get to read an early copy of that within the next few weeks.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah. Oh, this is a good question. Do more people pull Absolute Wonder Woman or Tom King's Wonder Woman here? I don't know that.
I would say Absolute Wonder Woman.
I think so, too.
But I think that's, in general, the numbers for the Absolute books, as far as I know, for the majority of stores that actually support them, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Because I love the current Wonder Woman, I love the current Batman, I love the current Superman, but the Absolute books do offer a entry point. If someone is just coming off the street and they're like, I want to read something, it's easier to recommend those.
Yeah.
And the sales pitch is a little bit easier. There will come a point where those series will be so far in, it'll be a little bit harder to sell.
Well, it's kind of like what happened with the original Ultimate Universe in Marvel. Like because it was the same thing in the year 2000 and 2001. But by the time you got to 2011, 2012, the Ultimate Universe had a decade's worth of its own continuity that you had to keep up with, right? So
for right now, yes, people who I would say maybe don't lean super hard into traditional superheroes or mainstream comics. Maybe they read more Image or IDW or Boom or something like that. They are more inclined to pick up an Absolute book because it does have a little bit more maybe creative freedom to, definitely like Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman feel a little bit more like, what if, Image did a Wonder Woman book? They've got a little bit more of that grit that a lot of people are looking for that aren't exactly in your like bubblegum pop superhero books.
And I love all the Absolute books, and I love that version of those characters. I wouldn't want that version to be the main version. Right. Like, I'm glad that we still have the regular versions of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, but I just like having my cake and eating it too. Yeah. I get my classic Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, but also like the crazy Absolute versions. Yeah. Like they're both great. Real quick, Rufflewood over here on Instagram wants to know any plans to go to any cons? Yeah.
Is it as a store?
People
do ask us. I'll answer for both.
Yeah.
As a store, People always ask like, "Oh, are you going to be at this con or this con?" Actually, we are so busy here at the store. We don't really have the capacity to get a lot of product and everything and staff and drive and go somewhere. Saturdays here are like their own cons.
Sure, Saturdays here are crazy.
They're crazy
in a good way.
So, we are hoping at some point to have like a road team. That is not in like the immediate plans, but it's not something we're against. Now, if you're talking about us as individuals, that's a different story. So I've got some pretty big ones coming up with my first one being in April. Actually, my first two are in April, but I'm going to be at C2E2 in Chicago.
I'm going to be there too.
And Matt's going. He's going to be helping me at my table. We should do some videos from there.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah.
Reporting live from the floor.
I'm excited because I've never been to C2E2. I've never been to Chicago, so I'm excited to go and, just like see what's
blown away.
I know. I've always wanted to go to that one because that one is much more comic-centric than something like San Diego is,
Yeah, exactly. So, especially anyone in the Chicago area or anything, and you always go to C2E2. We're going to be there. I don't have my table number or anything yet, but I'll be there selling and signing Star Wars books and Transformers Beast Wars that I worked on and selling prints and original art, that kind of stuff. I'll be there as an artist. What's going to be really exciting is I wish Free Comic Book Day was a little bit earlier because the writer of the coming up Free Comic Book Day Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures is going to be there and I'm going to be there. And it's like, man, it would have been a great time to do a double signing.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been awesome.
But I'm super excited. I get to meet him for the first time. It's a great place to like meet creators.
Yeah.
And everything.
I'm excited to know, like, when you get your table number to find out where you'll be so that we can start telling people so that you can come by and you can meet us. We can meet you. And you don't have to get a commission from Andy, but if you don't, we may bust some kneecaps. I don't know. I'm just saying.
But also after that, so that's 1 week. The next weekend is Easter, and the next weekend is Huntsville Pop Culture Expo that I'm going to be at, which is another huge con. It's one of the biggest in the Southeast now. I'm going to be there. I always do YamaCon that comes up in December. So I'm trying to do less cons but bigger cons. So and I can't wait to like us to do those and then come back and tell everybody about them.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm super excited because I used to go to Dragon Con every year for 10 years in a row, but that's not like comic folk. There's comic stuff there, but it's more just like
party con.
Yeah, right. It's just more of a 5-day, 24-hour party. But and then this is a good question too. Have you got any upcoming Star Wars stuff you're doing?
Oh well. So my next upcoming one, I just had like 2 big releases, at least, every release for me is big, but I had the annual come out that was awesome.
Yeah.
I worked on with Charles Soule and Rosemary Soule, and I had the other one shot that came out before that. I've got Free Comic Book Day coming up with the Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures. My second year doing a Free Comic Book Day book, which I'm so excited about. This, I think, is my best one yet. Not just out of the 2, but it's like one of my favorite things I've done. I really felt like a lot more freedom in the story allowed me, and creatures I got to do. That was really great. And then, so don't miss out on that. First Saturday in May. It's free. Get it. It's awesome.
I want to say it's the 3rd this year.
Is it the
May
3rd? That would make sense. I think it's the 5th because last year was May the 4th, was also Free Comic Book Day. So
it's the 3rd.
Oh, it's the 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that makes sense because it's the first Saturday. It's not like Christmas that
right.
It changes days. So I've got that, and then yes, there is more Star Wars stuff coming. I've signed contracts so I can't really talk about it too much.
But I can't. No, I was kidding.
But I can't stop anymore from talking about it. No, but expect a lot of stuff coming up in the future with Star Wars and with other stuff as well. There's some stuff in the hopper from other publishers and everything that I can't wait. When I'm not here, I'm slammed with work doing art for different things.
It's a good problem to have, though.
It's a very good problem to have, but yeah, this is this is going to be a great year for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, because so, come to C2E2, get all of your Andy books signed while you can, because in a couple of years, he's going to be charging out the wazoo for a signature.
Oh my gosh, no one will be able to afford me. And I'll go broke because no one can
Right.
afford me.
Right.
And I'll make no money.
It's like, I feel like my signature is worth this amount, but then it's not because nobody pays. And you're like, oh, maybe I should have done that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. All that to say, yes, there is a lot more coming.
So to answer your question, yes.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that is going to do it for today. The store is closing up out there right now as we speak. And yeah, this has been super duper fun. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We had some other like news articles and stuff pulled up, but this is more fun. I think just, having more casual conversations back and forth rather than just like listening to us drone on and on. Yeah, so super fun. Thank you guys for watching. We will have another video. We just posted our comics to pre-order in a flash video a few minutes ago. We'll have our comics from the future video on Friday. We're talking about all the big books you can pre-order this weekend. Jason and Megan will be here in these seats on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, showing all of the cool collectible books that they have available. And then we'll be back again on Monday talking about a lot, not all, but a lot of next week's books that are coming out. So always lots of good stuff coming out here on YouTube especially, and we try to put it on other platforms as well. So if you want to, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram, we're at all of the places.
Yeah, and definitely, like, even if you're not watching this live, if you're watching this after the fact, still leave comments about what you want us to talk about next time, because we'd love to do that. It really, it does kind of tee us up for the next show.
Yeah.
And it gets us, a little head start of thinking about what we want to say and everything. And like we do with this show, we love to see the questions come in. And we love to answer them as best as we can. And yeah, it just keep that going. We will try to answer as many as possible. Yeah,
and this show is bi-weekly, so our next episode of this show will be on March 5th, which is 2 Wednesdays from now. So yeah, you guys have a great night, and we will see you in a couple days. Bye-bye.
Bye.